So we have created our data set in we've modeled our data set. We've created a relationship among our data table. Now you can see the product table is connected to the sales table using the product ID, while the customer table is connected to the sales table using the customer ID. The geography table is connected to the sales table using the zip code. Make it of the zip code here. We have the zip code here in connecting that, but we have a surrogate key here, which we can also use to connect the two tables together. Remember, I said if there is no column we can use to connect those two cables, we can use the surrogate key. But since we have the zip code, we've already used that to connect this table, and date table we've connected that to them. Now you can see the star schema model I was talking about. So now let's go to our data report view. Here we are going to create a visualization in a report view. We create a visualization there. Here is the canvas setting where we can set our canvas. This is where we are going to build a visualization, but it's okay. Let's leave the setting as it is. So now let's start creating a visualization. Let's say we want to create a donut chart. Now creating the donut chart, let's try to drag this and then now I want to see the category of the goods by total sales. I want to see the category of the goods by total sales. So I'm going to come to this list. I go to the total sales of the goods. So category by total sales. Now you go to the products of the goods. You click and drag and drop in as needed, and by the total cost, the category of the goods by total sales, and we are assuming that this is a sales, that we have the price multiplied by the quantity to give us total sales. Why the other one, the cost, we are assuming a situation whereby we have the cost of the goods by the quantity to give us total cost. So as if this is a total sales and total cost, these two would not have been included in the product table, we would have left it in the sales table. So we drag and drop here. That gives us for the sales table. We copy and we paste, and we drag and drop here. So let's see how we can do that. This. Okay. Now we can also create, at this point we remove this here. So we can now create see the category of the goods by the total cost of the goods. So see the category goods by the total cost of the goods. Now we have seen this. So we can make this to be the pie chart, and we create another one here. So now we have so we can now see the category of goods by profit. So now in order to do that, we go to our modeling menu, click on the modeling menu and click on measure. Then we are going to type the total sales and then total profit. So let's call this the total sales. Total sales is equals to the sum. Make it of the sum function in Excel. You can see it has only one argument, which is a column name. To identify the column you're interested in, you reference the table name first. The table I'm interested in is the product table, and the column in that product table is the category. So I want the product. So that's the product table, and the column I'm interested in this product table, the column I'm interested in is the unit price. So I reference the product table first, then the unit price I pick on that and hit enter. Then when I hit on enter, okay, it's telling me that there is a major. Now. So then I'm going to create a similar visualization with that. I'm going to create another one here. I go to modeling and then go to new measure. When I go to modeling and I go to new measure and go to modeling and I go to new measure, I'm going to type the total cost equals to the sum. Now this time around, I'm interested in the cost column located in the product table. So I'm going to reference the table name first, followed by the column name, bracket and hit enter. So we hit the enter button here. So that gives us that value there. So that gives us that value there. Then what we do, we drag this down, we'll bring this down a bit. Then we have the, now you can see it created it in this particular table. I'm just going to delete that. Yeah, that's the total cost and the total sales. I'm going to delete it here as well. So let me collapse this column. Now I just want to create I want it to appear in the product table. I want it to appear in the product table. I will go to modeling. I click on the new measure. So measure simply means an aggregate of a thing. It simply means what do you want to measure? Do you want to measure sales? Do you want to measure profit? Do you want to measure cost, expenses? Now, measure is something that gives you an aggregate value. It gives you a scalar value, a single value. That's what measure gives you. For example, examples of measure are the measure of central tendency. These are examples of measure. So in this case, now I want to calculate my total sales all over again and type equals to the sum. I'm going to reference the product name and then that's the product total sales. Okay, and hit enter. Now you can see that appears on my product table. So either I click on the product table, I click on the column in the product table if I want to create a measure and I want it to appear in that particular product table. So the other one I want to create now is let's say total cost. So I want to create a total cost. Click on this and I'm going to reference the product name and I'm interested in that particular column. That's the unit cost in the product table. So that's why I reference the product name first before the unit cost. Now I've gotten this now. So what I'm going to do is this just going to click on this, going to remove this and then that is the cost. That's the sales. Okay, in this particular case, I want to, let me remove this. That should be the profit. So let's go to modeling, new measure. And this time around, we're going to go to the profit. total sales minus the total cost. Okay, that will give me the profit. So I'm going to, now the profit is located here because um, I didn't select the table first. So let me simply collapse this. I want it to appear in the product table. I want all the measures to appear in the product table. The total sales minus the total cost. Now we have the total sales minus the total cost. So that gives me the category by total cost. I can now see the category by total sales. I can also see the category by the profit of that particular um, categories of goods. Now you can see the category with the highest profit is a mixed category with the highest profit. And you can see the sales, the category with the highest sales is represented by the purple is the urban category. And also you can see the next category is the deep blue, which is 8.86%. That's the next category. That's the urban category. That's the mixed category that has the highest, the second highest sales in that category of goods. Now we can see here the total sales, the category, the urban still has the highest cost. Now we can see that. Then we can also create more visualization. This time around, I want to, let me see, I want to create like the funnel chart. Okay, I want to create the funnel chart then. Now I'm going to change this to the funnel chart. That's the funnel chart. Now I want to see the the sales by segment. Okay, I have to drag the segment down to this place to see the sales by the segments of goods, total sales by segment. So that gives me the sales by the segment of goods. Then I want to see the total cost by segment. Okay, now let's see the total cost by the segment of the goods. Then I also want to see the profit by segment of the goods. Let's see the profit by segment. So that gives me the profit by segment. I could also change this particular visualization if I want to change that visualization. So I can decide to say I want to filter this particular visualization. I could say I want to filter this particular visualization. Let's say by the segment of the goods. Let's take the slicer. Let's say I want to filter data. I want to filter the data set. I want to slice the data set by that. Okay, I want to slice the data set by that. So I come to this and I go to change the slicer to the drop down. So I also want to, okay, now I want to use the product category this time around. I want to filter this data set by category. So when I click on this, I can see like the accessory and that's the accessory category, and it still gives me accessory here. So I could also raise up this, come to this, and then I click on this and I say the accessory and what category in the accessory I listing have that. So I can come to this eraser here to clean it off. Then I come to let's see extreme. Let's see the category we only have urban. So that's the data set for that. So I could come here and pick another category. Let's say this, and then that gives me the data set. I have two categories now. If I want to see for the ruler, I click for the ruler. I want to see for the mix, I click for the mix. It gives me the product by category, product by segments, and all that. So I could click to erase it off. I can also click on this to erase to clear up the selection. Now you can see when I click the drop down, the name is not visible, it's not eligible. So I could also expand that. So I could create another visualization with my data set. I could decide to create another visualization with the with my data set. I could create another visualization with my data set. So I could create here, I could create the quarter where the slicer. Where is the quarter? I could use the quarter here. Okay, let me go to the date and we have this. So we could create the slicer there and we have the first quarter. I can see that for the second quarter, for the third quarter, um, I can see that for each quarter, I could change the slicer there to drop down and I clear the selection. So for each quarter, I could see my dataset for quarter dataset. Okay. Now I could bring in my filter here and I drag the year and I drop here. Now you can see, no, it's giving me error. No, let me remove this. Now you can see my slicer when I drag and drop the year column here, it's giving me the sum for the year column. Now it's summarizing this. So which ought not to be. So I'm going to go to don't summarize. It shouldn't summarize that. So I'm just going to change that for the other column. So don't summarize that and don't summarize. Don't summarize. Okay, now I'm going to bring in this visualization. I'm going to try to slice that dataset by the year column. I click on this, go to the drop down, and I'm going to pick the drop down. So I can slice that, filter this particular dataset by the year column. So I can pick a particular year and use it to slice this particular dataset. And now there's an error here. We have error here. What we should have done, recall, I assumed that this total sales and total cost should be this total sales and total cost is the normal thing should have been the unit price times the quantity. The unit price times the quantity of the goods should have given us the total sales and total cost. But I don't have the unit price and the number of quantity that was bought, so I can multiply to get the total sales and total cost. I'm working with the assumption that this is my total sales and total cost. And even they are my total sales and total cost, I wouldn't have included them in that particular table. I would have left them in the sales table. I would have left these two in the sales table. Both of them would have been in the sales table. Both of them should have been in the sales table. Both should have been in the sales table. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete all this. Going to delete all this, and I'm going to delete this as well. Going to delete all that from the model. So I'm going to We have deleted all that from the model. I'm going to create another measure for each of that. Going to create another measure for each of that. So I'm going to create the measure for each of them. So I want it to appear in the sales table. I go to new measure. I'm going to create the total sales, and I want to reference the sales table, and that is this the unit price. So unit price located in the sales table. So I'm going to do that for the rest measure. So we create another measure, that's the total cost. We created that for total sales, so we create another measure, the total cost equals to the sum, and I'm interested in the sales table, and the column in the sales table I'm interested in is the cost unit cost table. So I pick that and I hit on enter. Then the next I'm going to do is the profit. I go to the modeling menu, click on the modeling menu and click on the new measure. I'm going to create the profit measure on that particular table. So I'm going to type the total sales minus the total cost and hit enter. That gives me the profit. So I'm going to change this. This is the total cost. I'm going to drag and drop here. Then this is total sales category by sales. Drag and drop there. Then this is profit. Okay, that is category by profit. And this is segment. That's the segment by sales. The segment by sales. Segment by the cost. And this is the segment by the profit. Okay, that's the segment by profit. I could also decide to see this segment by profit by creating a tree map chart there. Okay, so let's leave this way as it is. Then we could also create more visualization here. We could create more visualization. So now I can see once I click on this and I click a particular visualization, you can see I can simply clear it there. I can simply clear that off. I can simply clear it off. Then I can create more visualization with this data set. I could click on this and then I drag this and let's say this a little bit, the copy. Okay, let's see this first and foremost. I'm going to drag the total. Let's say I'm going to drag the total cost, total sales, and so I'm going to create a trend with that. Let's see the date, and let's drag the year because it's a trend. It's a trend chart. It's a trend chart, and I'm going to bring the total cost and total sales into this particular the total cost as the total cost and the total sales in that particular. So when you make use of this, now it's giving us the line, the total, giving us this line. That is the nature of our data set. I think that's why we're having that problem. Because when you go to data sets, when you check data sets, you go to the product table, we can see the data set there in you can see our data set here. You can see the values of our data set just giving us the singular value of our data set. So when you drag and drop this, then that gives us the cost, and then we have the secondary axis, which is the total sales. Now you can see the cost and the sales, and we can bring in the profits in between there. So we can see that, but we can simply remove the profit off from that. We can simply remove the profit there and look at the total cost and total sales. Look at the total cost and look at the total sales. And we see that the difference between the total cost and the total sales, we the difference between the two axes will give us that. We want to see the difference between the sales and we might put it this other way around, and we see that it gives to us. So you can also see the total sales and we compare it with the profit. You can see sales and the profit and the line is, but we want to compare the total sales and the total cost. You can see the total sales and the total cost. You can see the distance between the. So we can also click on this and let's change this to the tree map. Let's make this to be the tree map. Okay, in this other chart here, okay, okay. Now we have the Okay, now we have the profit there. Then here we can remove this and we'll put the cost there. And we remove this and we make it the total sales there. Okay, now we've created that and let's see this and we click the three mark there and that three mark we can see the sales by region. We can see want to see the profit by region or the sales by region. This is the region we drag and drop in. Okay, let's select this particular field. We drag and drop it in the category column. Then in the value column, that's the we drag and drop the numerical value there, and that is the profit. We want to see the profit made by region. So we can see the various profit made by region. We could simply turn on the data value for that particular visualization. So we could also equally decide to create. Here we could also decide to create we could decide to here we could decide to create let's see we could decide to create a chart here that will let's say we can decide to create this type of chart. Can decide to create that particular type of chart and compare the total cost and total sales. Okay, we that's done. We compare the total cost and the total sales. Now you can see total cost and total sales. Also, we can decide to total cost. We'll bring in the total sales here and the total cost on the y axis. Now you can see the difference. You can see the blue line represents the total cost. You can see the total sales is quite higher than the total cost. But when we put it the other way around, when doing this other way around, that's the total sales here. That gives us the total sales, then the total cost on the y line. Yeah, that's the two axes. You can see the total sales and the total cost. The total sales is quite higher than total cost. You can see the difference between sales and cost for each year. So that's how to create that particular visualization. So we can decide to create another visualization known as the matrix. Here the matrix we are going to look at the product segments and then the product category. So here fill in the data and we bring in the product category in this particular drag and drop there. Then also we put in the value there. We can put in the total cost. No, for the value field, we put the total cost and the total sales on the value field and the total sales on the value field. Now we can bring the total sales on the value field. Now you can see we have the total cost and we have the total sales. So if I want to see that, I can see for that particular category. Now if I want to see that for another segment, when I click on it, I'll see the category for that particular segment. So and I could decide that I want to filter that table by category. I can say I want to filter this by the category. Filter by category and that's this particular product. Where is it? I want to filter it by category. Now that is a category. And so I want to filter this by category. We can see for that particular product. If I want to see for this other category or for the rural category, you can see that for each of the category. So we can that's for each category. That's for each category. So we can also equally change this to we can equally change that to a drop down or we can make that a slicer to become a type. So once we click on each category, we can get that for that particular category. Also, we can also decide to this particular page, we can decide to use the year or the quarter rather, and we put it on the column. Then we have for each quarter, can have the visualization for each of the quarter. Can have the visualization for each of the quarter. So visualization for each of the quarter. Then we can also decide to let's say we can decide to create a ribbon chart. Can decide to create a ribbon chart here. Okay. Okay, we can decide to create the ribbon chart here and let okay, we create the ribbon chart. In this particular case, we have the total cost and the total sales. We can compare the cost and the sales. Also, we want to include the profit there. We could decide to include the profit to compare the ribbon chart there. That will compare the profit. But let's remove the profit there so we can see the line for the total sales, because the total sales is represented by the light blue color, while the total cost is represented by the dark blue color. So the space in between is the profit. So we are going to wrap up our training here today. We are going to draw the curtain for our training here today. So the training ends here today. So do we have any question? Do we have any question before I go offline? Before I round up this particular training? Okay, thank you, goodbye, and see you next time.